What's up, my family? Listen, first-time listener, or you've been here the whole damn time. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, giddy up, let's go, enjoy the clip, no notes.
Let's get into the poll question right now. Jalen Reagor, the much divisive Jalen Reagor. Jeff, do you see him having a breakout season in 2021?
I'm when thinking about this poll, once again, it determines on your definition of breakout season. Look, Jalen Reagor as a rookie last year did not have the greatest rookie campaign that we expect him to have. In 11 games, like 390 yards and a couple touchdowns. So, 396 yards on 31 catches and 1 touchdown. So it was a very lackluster rookie season for Jalen Reagor. And really, the only way direction he can go is really up. But it's just gonna be interesting to see. We don't know how this offense is gonna be ran. It was brought up this past week in OTAs by Reagor that in Sirianni, it seems like he's primarily gonna be used in the slot. So I do think that might be a little better for him, and I feel Sirianni is going to try to use that speed to his advantage to get him in open space to try to catch those passes. But once again, we don't know who's throwing the football. You're only as good. The wide receivers in the NFL are only as good as the quarterback throwing them the football. And if Jalen Hurts ain't the quarterback that we expect him to be, Reagor might struggle. And also, it's going to depend on how much snaps he's going to get. We have a very crowded wide receiving core at the moment. If he's going to be a run-based offense, he's going to be 12 personnel. There's going to be slots and positions that Reagor's not going to be on the field a lot, so I feel that might take away from his opportunity. Do I think he's going to have a more productive season? Yes. I feel he's going to adjust very well to Sirianni's offense going into his second year, but do I feel he's going to have 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns? Hell no. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to disagree with the poll to that concept, that I don't feel he's going to have 1,000 yards. Honestly, I don't see Reagor being our number one receiver. We brought Devontae Smith in here for a reason. I feel he's going to have a great season. We also have a lot of unproven guys that I feel they're going to get some reps in this offense. Whether we keep Zach Ertz, maybe we might see a lot of 2 tight end sets with him and Goddard, and a run-based offense now that you have with Miles Sanders and the rest of the guys we have out of that backfield. So I feel there's a lot of unknowns to really pinpoint Jalen Reagor to have a breakout year in 2021.
It's an awesome shirt.
Walmart, check it out.
But for Reagor, and I'm putting my. I know that a lot of people know that I'm one of the only ones at A2D that stuck up for the Reagor pick, last draft. And, I still believe in Reagor. I still believe that he can be a really, really great wide receiver. So to me, I know you said you talked about, you don't see him as a wide receiver 1. Devontae Smith is our wide receiver 1. That's what we draft him to be. I agree with that. Smith to me definitely has the higher ceiling than Reagor. I think that Reagor though still can be a really one of the top wide receiver 2s. And when you talk about in terms of a team's options at wide receiver, if he's that second option at wide receiver, I think he'd be one of the better ones. And I still think he has that ceiling to be a good top wide receiver if he were to be hypothetically on a different team. I think the talent is still there. So for Reagor going into next year, I'm going to have to agree, but I'll say this because, I know that John Lynch on YouTube was asking, what would you define as a breakout year for Reagor? And you said the same thing. And it's a good question. And I framed it this way. I framed the poll question this way for a reason, because it is subjective. So I wanted to get to see what not only yours, but other people's definition of a breakout season would be for him. Because originally I was going to say, he'll have 1,000-yard season. I don't think he's going to have 1,000-yard season. But say if he gets close around 800 yards receiving, right? And he has a bunch of yards rushing because he's used as kind of a gadget guy a little bit, and then he gets a bunch of touchdowns. To me, that's still a breakout season for Reagor. I think that's a great season for Reagor, And considering like all the other weapons, like you said, that are probably going to be focal points, I think that you're looking at, Sanders, Goddard, obviously Devontae Smith. They're going to spread the ball around, but I think Reagor, if he has close to 800 yards and a bunch of touchdowns, a bunch of rushing yards, and say like yards from scrimmage, like total yards. Oh, or let's frame it this way: all-purpose yards. So receiving, rushing, return yards. If he has over 1,000 altogether, I think that's a really good season for Reagor, and I personally will qualify that as a breakout season. So I will agree because I think this offense is going to really benefit Reagor. Because Sirianni likes to get. He's a wide receiver guy. He played wide receiver. And he knows how to deploy these receivers as weapons. So I think that he's going to do a really good job. And so with Reagor, even though he's not the top option, I think he's coming into this year. And he's talked about it. Numerous writers have wrote about it, that this year with there actually being mini camps and not being held back by the pandemic anymore, because it was tough on all rookies. And I know that's not an excuse because there were rookies that balled out. But for some rookies like Reagor, it was a little tough on them. They didn't get that training camp. And also Reagor was hurt too. So those weeks that he was out due to injury in the middle of the season kind of like held him back even further. So I think going into this year, getting a foot early, getting his feet down, getting his feet wet early like this in the spring, even if it's with a new coach and system, I think it helps him a lot. I think his mindset is totally different from what it was last year. And I think he has a lot to prove. He has a chip on his shoulder. And, Jason Avant talked about working with him last year. And he always says that Jalen Reagor is a dog. He has that dog mentality. And Jason Avant is a big believer in Reagor. So I think that it will be a breakout year. Will it be 1,000 yards receiving? No, but I think his impact on the field will start to show and start to be really significant, to where I think we can really look at him and be like, okay, like he's starting to show the guy, the type of player that we all kind of wanted him to be, if that makes sense.